Last time in A1GP, the sun shone in Durban, but through the debris of the sprint race, Germany snatched win number 7. The feature race saw 23 cars go into the hairpin, but not so many coming out, and host nation South Africa was in trouble. USA crashed. Ireland retired again, but South Africa made a late return to the race to the delight of the crowds, while Great Britain fought New Zealand for second, and Germany sailed through for another smooth victory. Now we've arrived in one of the biggest cities in the world, Mexico's capital, full of the flavour of indigenous culture and ancient Aztec heritage, but also a thriving, bustling hub of humanity, home to 20 million people, fiercely proud of their way of life, and, so it seems, always on the move.
And here we are at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, named after two great racing drivers from Mexico of the 60s and 70s. And today Mexico hopes that their Salvador Duran will lead them to race victory in A1GP. It is a good crowd. The sunshine of the last few days, John, seems to have disappeared behind a little bit of cloud, but conditions are still looking good.
Conditions are lovely. The only difference is that the humidity, which is something that was totally lacking by the number of chapped lips been walking up down the paddock over the weekend, that humidity is rising quite rapidly, so let's hope it doesn't rise to the point of 100%. Of course, then it'll be raining.
Yeah, well, the drivers are on a tourist bus at the moment, as you can see, going around the circuit, being presented to the crowds here at this high altitude track. As you mentioned, we're at 7,500 feet here in Mexico City. It's meant that there's less power available for the engines, a little bit less downforce on the cars, but the drivers out there aren't too worried about that at the moment. They're getting a nice cool breeze.
Yes, in a cut-off London bus, and that thing about loss of power. Normally you'd be expecting at sea level to have an A1GP engine producing 520 horsepower on normal race trim, but here with something, the barometric pressure down to 700 units, it's maybe 100 horsepower short of that 400 or 520 horsepower you'd normally expect, and it is noticeable on the racetrack, trust me.
There's a great heritage to this Mexico City racetrack, and it's a wonderful circuit to drive. Let's find out a little more about it.
The historic Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez is a little space of tranquility in what is the world's third largest city. The public park is a haven for cyclists and a mecca for racing drivers, but the principles are the same. Avoid the curves at all costs. If you don't, there are some beautifully carved walls just waiting to etch themselves into the car. A bumpy surface and the endless Piratalda corner make it a very physical and demanding track.
With 14 turns and the longest start-finish straight of any in A1GP. Coming down the main straight, particularly in the rolling start for the sprint race, lots of action coming into turn 1. You must stay off the curbs in 1, you must stay off them in 2, and you've got to stay off them in turn 3, which then leads on to a shorter straight where you build up speed once again, which leads up to the entry into turn 4, late braking into turn 4, into third gear, but then you have to change down into second, so as you get the speed off to take turn 5. That's the tight turn to the right. Short sprint, second gear, third gear, up to turn 6, the hairpin bend. It's really a two-part corner. You try to make it a single corner. From here you go into the sequence of lefts and right that comprise the S's. Difficult to place the car accurately. It is bumpy, lots of shake in the steering wheel, lots of shake in your body. Building up speed progressively until you get to turn 11, then you get into fourth gear, and the final two corners of the S's culminating in turn 13, the quickest of them all. And then it's on to the final back straight, which leads up to the notorious Piratalda corner, which used to be a 7-degree bank corner, but now is much flatter. Difficulty in this corner is you can't see the exit. There's now a baseball stadium in the inside of the corner. Hug that white line and then free the car up on the exit, and you've completed another lap here in Mexico City.
And there's the map of the track itself, start-finish line, that long straight into the first section of corners, and then where sector 2 marker is, the coastline, and 2,500 kilometers of eastern shore on the Gulf of Mexico. 60% is mountainous. In fact, we're in a very volcanic region, a seismic region here. Mexico City, built on a lake bed, an ancient lake bed subject to both earthquakes and volcanoes, but a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. So down there on the grid, cars are getting ready. One of the ones who was out of luck earlier on was Team Brazil. Let's go and hear from their driver, Bruno Junqueira.
Thanks very much. Joining me now, Bruno. We've heard Mexico's perspective on what happened in the first lap of the sprint race. Tell us from your perspective.
From my perspective, I don't know, because I was just behind the Rich's car and I was just following him. We were straight and just I felt something hitting my left here, so it was the Mexico car. And then when you saw on the tape, looks like that he tried to go between me and the German car, and I don't think there was any space there.
And it's frustrating because you've been on the podium, you've had a lot of success here before at this circuit, and now you're right at the wrong end of the grid, unfortunately.
Yeah, Team Brazil car was good this weekend. We made a good improvement. We were pretty fast in qualify. We had the fourth fastest lap, so I was hoping for a podium finish, if not a win. But now let's see if we can get some points for Team Brazil and have a strong finish again.
Best of luck. Thanks very much, Bruno.
Thank you.
So Bruno Junqueira, the only driver with previous experience of this track, but it didn't do him much good, did it, in that first race? There's the man who gave him the initial pitch, if you like, but thankfully no further damage in terms of other cars piling into it did occur.
No, that was a bit of a love tap from Salvador Duran on Bruno Junqueira, but in fact we didn't even realise until we've seen that particular repeat that the Mexican car pushed the Brazil car, and it was 90 degrees to Mexico for a considerable distance down the racetrack, and for Bruno Junqueira, who came out of a massive accident, not his fault, in Indianapolis 2005, he must have thought, please not again.
Well, it's great to see so many people here enjoying the build-up to this feature race, and of course what they're hoping to see, particularly from Team Mexico's point of view, is lots of overtaking, because they'll be coming from the back of the grid. Overtaking is very much something that we look forward to in A1GP. Let's look behind the scenes.
Overtaking is what the drivers love to do and the spectators want to see. This weekend, A1GP visits a track with the longest and widest start-finish straight on the calendar. A 1 kilometre blast between the walls leading down to the first corner. A perfect place for the kind of passing that A1GP has become famous for. But what exactly is the science of overtaking?
Team Australia in the hole in the air created by Lebanon, and he's using it to the maximum. He's going past perfect.
Once in the slipstream, the move can be completed in different ways.
Canada under pressure. Africa trying to go around the outside here. John, what a move by Alan van der Merwe. Goes around the outside of Canada. Can he hold it? Yeah, pretty good. Braybrin's going to go down the inside. Robbie Kerr late on the brake, slithers, slide, turns in. Oh, that's a great move by Robbie Kerr.
And whilst Team Indonesia's Ananda Mikala demonstrates the right way to do it,
Indonesia diving down the inside of Australia, and that was for position, that was for 5th place.
he also shows how not to.
Ananda Mikala going down the inside. He's trying to do both of them. He's braked too late, and he's off.
Overtaking in a slow corner is often associated with an aggressive positioning of the car to steal the line.
Canada leading, Malaysia going for the inside and taking aggressively that piece of ground. Canada trying to turn in, can't make it.
Sometimes the contact is light enough to allow both cars to continue.
Canada slides, Great Britain on the inside, hits the Czech Republic, but they still continue.
A1GP's unique power boost adds an extra spice to the mix, and when it all comes together, the results are spectacular.
China's going for it, trying to take third place from the Netherlands. Will he go round the outside at turn one? What a manoeuvre by Ho Bintang of China.
The art of overtaking as exhibited by A1GP, John.
Yes, and it's a fundamental part of motor racing. If you can't overtake, you're not a racing driver. There are a lot of drivers who think they can overtake, but it takes a different mindset, and those that do it successfully are the ones that are usually on the podium at the end of every race.
Let's hear from the local hero. He's with Simon Hill.
Salvador, a lot of interest and a lot of support for you down here, but you seem very, very relaxed.
Yes, I am. I mean, I know what we're doing. I trust in my team. I know the car is awesome. I know that I can do it. We were quick in qualifying, and it's just a matter of going out, doing the things correctly, good start, a clean start, good pit stop, and then we'll be there, I think.
had a very difficult problem, obviously, in the first race at the start, but I'm sure the car's ready and you're ready.
I'm ready, the car is more than ready. The mechanics, the engineers, everyone is hoping very good results, and I hope that I can give them this.
Thanks, Salvador. Enjoy the race.
Thank you very much.
So Team Mexico starting from 17th place on the grid, lots of work to do from back there, but he seems fired up for action, and with that fastest lap earlier on, we know that he can do it.
Yes, but he's going to have to be patient. He's starting a long way back, and we don't want to see a repeat of what occurred in the sprint race. Of course, this is a standing start, and of course, again, at 7,500 feet above sea level, that's something new for everybody, and I wonder, will everybody have prepared themselves by making some practice standing starts?
Well, the next round of A1 GP takes place in Shanghai in China.
Gentlemen, for the pride of your nation, start your engines.
Just 2 rounds remaining of A1 GP World Cup of Motorsport in China, Shanghai International Circuit on the 15th of April, and of course in Great Britain at Brands Hatch on the 29th of April. It is possible for Germany to wrap up the title here today, but to do that they need to score 4 more points than New Zealand, and of course both of them are going to be starting towards the back of the grid for this feature race.
Yes, back on the 8th row for New Zealand, and back on the 11th row, unfortunately for Germany. Germany getting caught up in that incident, which was triggered by Salvador Duran and Team Mexico's car. And of course, again, the young and inexperienced Christian Vitoros, who showed stunning qualifying pace to get onto the front row of the grid. Well, that lasted him about 150 metres before the contact occurred, and he's now on the back row of the grid alongside Ireland, who also got caught up. Ireland were an innocent victim. They came down the start, they saw the incident, lifted off, but they were attacked from behind by Lebanon, and that put Ireland immediately out.
Yeah, one of those accidents that of course so often occurs in a situation like that. One car backs off and the car behind doesn't see what's going on, and of course you get a sort of motorway style accident, and that's exactly what happened to Team Ireland. So their luck still hasn't turned, but maybe they'll have a chance this time. A colourful looking grid here in Mexico City as we prepare for this 45 lap